In our last episode, we went clockwise around our circle and we identified all of the major keys that had sharps in them in their key signatures and their relative minors. In this episode, we're going to go counterclockwise, which will be called the circle of fourths. I'll show you why that is in a moment. And we're going to identify the major scales that have flats in their key signature and their relative minor. You'll notice the ones that we did last time, we stopped on F sharp. This is referred to as either F sharp or G flat. And I'll show you how that works when we get to that point. Let's get started. We're going to be building one octave major scales to identify the key signature and the pattern that establishes a major scale. So in our last episode, quick review, we have 8 tones we'll be identifying. The first and last tone will repeat. So for the key of C, we would start on C, go through the musical alphabet. When we get to G, we start again on A, B, that brings us back to C at the end. The key of C is a natural scale. That means we have no sharps and no flats. So let's put that little indicator in there. And then our 6th degree of the scale, that's always going to be our relative minor. Let's get our A minor over here. This follows the pattern naturally. So our pattern for the neck of our instrument is that E and F are always a half step apart. They're next to each other. B and C are always a half step apart. They're next to each other. The rest of our consecutive letters of our musical alphabet will have a whole step separating them. So if we map that out, so our pattern is whole step, half, whole step, half. Now let's build our first scale going counterclockwise around our circle. When we go counterclockwise, the next scale from C in this direction will start on this 4th degree. Therefore, we'll call it the circle of fourths. If we start with F then, and continue from the musical alphabet, we have F, G, A, B. When we get to that 4th degree, we're going to have to make it flat. Between F and G is a whole step, G and A is a whole step, between A and B is a whole step. So by flatting the B, making it 1/2 step lower, we're going to bring it right next to that A and also take care of this issue here where we need the 4th and 5th degree to be a whole step away. We've lowered B, so now it is got a space between it, 1 empty fret before you get to C. And we continue in our musical alphabet. The result of building this scale is our key signature will have our B flat in it, and it will have D minor as the relative minor. So we're still using that 6th degree to do our relative minor. Okay, so now we're going to bring the B flat or that 4th degree over as the starting point for our next scale. So this starts on B flat. So you notice once you find a flat, just like once you find a sharp, it gets added to the next key signature. We carry them over. We're making a cumulative collection of flats. So after B flat, we have C, D. We're at that 4th degree. This is going to become our new flat, E flat. There'll be a half step now between D and the lowered E. Otherwise, D and E would be a whole step away from each other. So we've brought it closer by lowering it. Then we just follow our musical alphabet to finish that scale. We end up with a G as our relative minor. Now we start our next scale. It's going to be E flat. When we get to that 4th degree, A, that's going to be our new flat. So we're adding our flat in there, A flat. B is flat. It was flat before. We're carrying it over. So now this key is going to have 3 flats. It has our B flat, has our E flat, and the new flat that we found, A flat. And our relative minor will be C. That's 6th degree. We'll move on to the next key, which will start with A flat. Keep carrying those flats over, A flat, B flat, C. Now we've got a new flat being introduced. We get to that 4th degree, D is going to be our new flat. We'll carry over our other flats, fill in the rest. Now we have 4 flats. In the key signature, okay, our key is A flat. The new flat we found is D flat, and our relative minor is that 6th degree, F minor. Next scale, we're going to start with D flat. Carry over our flats, E flat, F. G is our new flat, that's the 4th degree. A flat, we carry them down, B flat, C, and end on D flat. Okay, and now we're going to sneak our little overlapper here at the end. Underneath our C, the natural scale, last time we had F sharp. What we will have this time is G flat. That's our 4th degree, and it's going to sound the same as the F sharp. It'll just be thought of as a different way. Instead of thinking of the notes as sharps, we'll think of them as flats, and I'll demonstrate that when we're playing it on the instrument. For now, let's just build it. So here we go, G flat. It's our 4th degree. So we have G flat, A flat, B flat, and our new flat will be C flat. Yikes. Then we move on, D flat, E flat, F, and G flat. So our relative minor is the E flat. Oh, we didn't fill in our relative minor here. That was the B flat for our D flat here. And now we're done. We've got our circle and then this repeater one here that could be thought of as either G flat, we call it an overlapper, or F sharp. And now what can we use to help us remember the order of our circle of fourths for all of our flat keys? I use the phrase, Fred bit every apple during grace. You can also think of it as F, the word bead, and the letter G. You just have to remember the F and the G, and think of everything on this side as having a flat with it except for the F. So it's F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat. So join me in the next episode where we will play one octave of each one of the major scales that have flats in them. Thanks again for joining me.